So, Tiny, we saved your ears from the moment of consumption, but Tiny brought little fried anchovies. They're little crispy boys.
Yeah.
And he asked us if we wanted to try them. Marcus and I have said no, a very strong no.
They do have
and
little
Austin
eyeballs.
is on his way back in from outside vomiting. How'd it go?
There's still bones in them.
There's bones?
Yeah, you don't debone anchovies. Yeah, they have little eyeballs and everything.
Oh, does he know that? Did
Yeah.
he know there were eyeballs?
Yep.
Wrong with you guys?
I got them at our local Asian market.
Ooh.
They're not good.
Did you know there were both bones and eyeballs? It was the whole dang fish. Explain the experience from beginning to
At
end.
least smell them if you're
No, I
not
really
trying.
don't want to do that.
Don't get those things near me.
Yeah, go from the start.
So I sniff it.
Right.
And I say to myself, this is not going to be good, but it's just a fishy smell. So fishy smell says, okay, it's a crispy anchovy thing. I'll try this. I take a bite of it. By take a bite of it, I mean they're bite-sized. I put the whole thing in my mouth. As soon as I crunch into it, it jammed every part of itself into every crevice of my teeth. Every crevice of my teeth that exists from my canines back on my left side ended up smushed fish parts and a crunchy flavor that tasted just like them. And then I said to myself, and this is what made me throw up so bad, I had nothing at my disposal to be able to wash it away except for this coffee I had just made. So
Coffee and anchovies?
shut the hell up, everybody. You don't know what just happened. So I thought that, oh man, this will just wash it out real quick, get it out of my mouth. And as soon as I swallowed it, my body regurgitated the taste of anchovy flavored coffee into my mouth. And as I'm outside throwing up, I'm trying to clear it out of my teeth because I can still feel it and it's making me gag worse. And a bone poked me in the tongue. Welcome to 2023, everybody. This is the way we're walking through the door. Just
Everyone knows coffee is an anchovy flavor enhancer. It's right on the package.
I'm not doing
It's
well.
on the Folgers front of the box.
The
It's on
best
front.
part of waking up is I threw up. I think I popped something.
Folgers, anchovy.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dane Holland.
I'm Austin Fishmouth Pfeiffer.
I'm Marcus. I'm Electric Man.
And this is Nerd It Through the Grapevine, the podcast where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And we just wrapped up 2022, baby, and it's time to start 2023 with a good kickoff, like with Austin tasting fried anchovy for the first time. Or anchovy, period. Have you ever had anchovies at all?
Oh, I love anchovies on pizza. I'm the exact opposite of the Ninja Turtles. That's why I was like dancing around the fact that, I can eat this. Yeah, that'll be fine. I've had anchovies before. I love sardines. I just picked a piece out of my tooth and it re-exploded the flavor. My eyes are watering right now.
Well, moving on from the consumption of food, let's go on to the consumption of things that are to come in our near future. Because between movies, games, and shows, 2023 is going to be just chock-a-block full of stuff that we're going to enjoy. And we want to run through some of those with you and with each other because we haven't shared kind of the things that we've found interesting. And the shortest list I have is some shows that are going to be coming out in 2023. As far as new shows, I've only got like 4 on here. And then I've got some new seasons as well. But mixing the genre of both television and video game, The Last of Us, the video game, is getting a show on HBO, and that's coming out in January. So this month, we'll be seeing that. And there's been some mixed ideas about the whole thing because in a game like The Last of Us, it's very cinematic in the way it's represented. And like the voice acting's incredible, and I mean, the graphics are great too. So it's already got a bunch of that story in a way that you can consume it without even playing the game, between cutscenes and all kinds of stuff. I'm sure you can pull up all kinds of the story as it unfolds just through cutscenes online. But The Last of Us isn't a game that I want to play. I know it's amazing, but it's not one that I'm interested in playing. But the story I am interested in, so I think this is going to be a great way for me to consume it, which I'm sure is the plan, right?
I would say so. I mean, I guess everybody just loved it so much as like a story slash. I mean, because like you said, these cinematic parts of the game that they were like, hey, this could probably work. But to me, like I said, I trust everyone who says it's amazing. I just don't care for some reason. I don't know why. I guess it just seems too close to zombie story.
Right. And zombies have been overplayed.
Right.
For a while.
And the daddy-daughter trope type thing. I mean, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just didn't grab my interest, really. Even despite everybody saying how great it was.
Arnold Schwarzenegger had a movie come out a few years ago that was exactly that, with like the daddy-daughter trope with a zombie infection kind of thing happening.
Really?
Yeah. It was called Maggie. And it was actually a pretty good movie because it's not, you expect Arnold to have like that over-the-top action feel to stuff. And, his settled-down acting roles kind of fit in pretty well, especially now that he's older and he doesn't look like a rippling statue anymore. He just looks rippling.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was still acting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So they probably, I don't know, they maybe even got the idea from The Last of Us. But then again, like you said, even the tropes within it aren't new.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it's
mean,
just
there's the whole
them put
Wolverine
together.
movie where
Right.
the daddy-daughter thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tried and true. It's good. I mean,
Right.
The Witcher kind of has that vibe going
Yeah,
on.
Ciri and Geralt. So yeah, that's a lot of people are excited for it, and a lot of people feel like it's going to be garbage because it's a video game put to screen. But video games are different now than they used to be, as far as like having a story good enough to tell on television. And I think The Last of Us, if done well, I mean, Pedro Pascal plays Joel, I think is his name, in the game, one of the main characters, and he brings it every time he's on screen. So
Yep, for sure.
no, we'll see. And I believe Neil Druckmann, I think, is the name of the guy who made the story or wrote the game or whatever, but he's directly involved with it. So this will be a case of the creator being directly involved with the making of the show. So, and that usually turns out a lot better than.
Plus, I don't know
whatever
any
not.
of the lore of this, story or anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be a lot of stuff I don't know about it that would make me much more interested in it. We'll just have to see. Maybe I'll give it, I'll give it a shot.
Okay, yeah. So I was going to ask, are you
the show? Maybe
you're
not
more
the-
willing to give the show a shot than the game?
Probably,
right?
yeah.
I mean, compare the hours that you put into
Correct.
the game compared to just the show.
Headline states, Last of Us television show has dark magic origins. Marcus is in. he's like, oh, I might give a shit about
Or
this. Hell,
cosmic horror.
Yeah, and then everybody's pissed because that's not the right one.
That's
Marcus
not-
like, I don't care.
that's not accurate in the source material. And Marcus is like, I'm Electric Man. This is awesome.
The next shows that I have, just new shows, are all Disney Plus shows. The Last of Us, by the way, is on HBO. I don't know if I mentioned that. But on Disney Plus, we're going to get, in the Marvel Universe, we're getting Ironheart and Agatha, Coven of Chaos, both in which I don't care.
Yeah.
Heard that.
But I think that's, again, like we've mentioned a few episodes ago, the burnout that I've got for the Marvel Universe. I no longer care.
Well, not
And I
to
don't-
mention Ironheart never had a good story. It just sucked all the way
No,
around.
see, I never
So
read
let's
any of
make
it.
it a movie. And you say, are we on movies or shows?
Shows.
So let's make it a show. Let's pick the shittiest storyline and make a show out of it because,
They're trying to get something Iron Man-ish back on screen because Iron Man's gone, and Ironheart is like it's the next most genius suit, next to Iron Man that's been made. I know nothing of the story besides that.
I just know she gives my 3 random characters plus 2 power on Marvel Snap. That's all I know.
Yeah.
She costs 3 power
Yeah.
and she is a 0 strength.
Excellent.
That's all I know
Yeah,
of Ironheart.
I think me as well because I had that card too in that game. But and as far as Agatha goes, I loved the Vision.
Yeah, WandaVision.
WandaVision, yeah, the WandaVision show. I loved it just because how different and new it was. I don't know. I doubt Agatha, that show is going to follow that suit. It's probably going to be totally different. But I don't know. I'm not going to watch either of these. I don't feel like. I just don't think I'm going to put the time into doing it.
Right now, the way that my being sets with the Marvel universe is pretty much just trying to follow the threads that are leading me to the X-Men. Because
Gotcha, yeah.
every little bit of stuff that I'm seeing, I'm trying to think, okay, this is how they can tie X-Men, or this is how they can tie X-Men. Agatha, that's a way they could tie X-Men. because I mean, at one point in the X-Men storyline, Agatha actually worked for Magneto.
Oh, okay.
And was, carrying out all these dark magic rituals and everything else along those lines in order to actually tie in the fact that Wanda and Pedro were Magneto's children. And all that could connect because they're connecting Agatha with Wanda now. Pedro, was a character that, in spoiler fart, in WandaVision that Agatha brought back. Mm-hmm. And it was the other universes where they were all connected in the first place kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I've got my hopes up for the X-Men reveal stuff, and anything that I can get X-Men revolving around Marvel, I want it now, please.
If they're smart, though, they're just going to do single character stories and build it up till they finally form the X-Men, kind of like they did the Avengers, right? That's probably the way they're going to go with it.
And I think...
So Cyclops, and then you'll get your own Wolverine stuff, or then you'll get your own Gambit stuff, and then all this, and then eventually they'll all team up for a movie.
Well, I mean, we have had our standalone Wolverine stuff.
But
X-Men Origins.
But they're going to have to wipe... Oh, my God,
yeah.
Tiny.
I didn't say it was good. I just said we had it.
I think that the idea of them bringing in actors to play all of these characters is going to be your tough part, but I think there are certain actors that are still around that can only portray those characters, like Patrick Stewart. I think that they've brought him into that universe. I want him in there as long as he is living, just because he is Professor X.
Yeah.
Period.
I think, and
McAvoy did a good job.
He did great. Yeah, I loved it.
I liked
but
his
as an old Xavier, right?
Like the actual like old leader, wise father figure to everybody. Yeah. McAvoy has a great young Xavier. Mm-hmm. It's just that he does not portray that wise older father figure.
Yeah, he's not 90 years old. He can't do it.
I mean, I think that's what the X-Men series has always done right, is casting. They've always casted people just spot on.
Right. No matter how garbage the script is, yeah.
Right, and that's fine. I mean, most of them are fine, to recast. Mm-hmm. But if they're going ahead and doing Hugh Jackman as Deadpool's Wolverine, and now Deadpool's owned by Disney, I mean, are they just going to keep going on with Hugh Jackman, or are they just going to be, that's just going to be one little Elseworlds thing, and then...
It's probably his own little, just fun. This is just him getting to have fun, I think.
And also, with them tampering around with timelines and them tampering around with different multiverse theories and this and that, Deadpool that we're seeing on the screen might actually not be involved in the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe until some kind of dimensional crossing event that happens, and now this character is involved in the universe, and he knows of Wolverine, but you're not the same Wolverine that I know.
Right. And that's where you can have an actor switch. It takes is an alternate universe.
And then that could be the Wolverine and Deadpool's main feud in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is them, Deadpool being like, I don't know you! You're not my friend!
That would be great.
Yeah.
If that's how we're introduced to a new Wolverine, as in the Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
I think X-Men is actually something I am excited about because I don't know when the X-Men, the 97?
That's supposed to be happening this year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't see it in my list.
I didn't, because there's been a lot of delays and stuff again. Animation studios and everything are, of course, as taxed as they can be right now.
Right.
So, I don't know. It wouldn't be a surprise if it didn't come out until later on in 2023, even though we were supposed to see it last year.
There's one other Marvel show that's going to be coming out, but it's the season 2 instead. It's from Loki, which I really enjoyed season 1 of Loki. And that's one that I will tune in for as soon as it comes out. I think.
Loki is another good way of just kind of having your cake and eating it too, just because what's that the main police force in there called again? Do you remember?
The Time people.
Yeah, the Time folks. I forget what they're called. Oh, screw me. I'm
Time Lord.
I'm a bad fan.
The Doctor
either.
But they were they're a great way for us to have our cake and eat it too, because the stuff can exist within anything that they're doing and it not actually have to be canon with story.
Right.
Like he had interactions with the old Loki and all these other things this last season, and it was awesome. You got to see the grandiose magic that, Loki is capable of as a character, but we've only seen snippets of him using stuff like this. So he's learning how to be a better Loki the more Loki goes on.
Right.
So it's awesome.
Yeah, they're screwing with time and multiverse stuff, and you can get weird with that and do whatever you want.
It's basically him having to level up during a side quest is what Loki is, and I'm here for it.
Also on Disney Plus, Ahsoka will be coming out, which that is one that I am excited for, is Ahsoka, because she's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And Dave Filoni, who created the character, is in charge of that show. So he knows exactly what he wants from that character. And it's just like if George Lucas were in charge of something Star Wars, like people are going to, at one point or another, give him props for it because it's his thing. I think with Ahsoka, I think Filoni's going to kill it with that. And I'm excited because we did get some of her in Mandalorian.
And it was cool.
And it was so cool. She's so badass. She's such a cool character. So, and the actress playing her just nails it. She does such a good job.
As long as it doesn't turn into another Mandalorian season 2.5, I'm totally cool with that because they really shot Book of Boba in the foot by doing that.
Yeah. Mando's the moneymaker now, and that's why they did it, because they were like, everybody knows Mando and Grogu, so let's just shoehorn it into this as well. But I think Ahsoka is going to be a really good one. As far as other new seasons coming out in this next year, Austin and I have been watching Shadow and Bone. We really like the first season of it.
Oh, we're getting at a new.
Yeah. Let's see.
So it was
in
pretty
March.
good?
Yeah, we enjoyed
I
it.
started watching the first few episodes, and then I just
It was
kind
okay.
of quit.
To me, it was better than Wheel of Time. So
Well, that's not very hard to do.
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
I knew he was going to say that. I agree. Well, what about Rings of Power? Was it better than Rings of Power?
Yes, absolutely it's better than Rings of Power. It is better than Rings of Power. The anchovy you just ate is better than Rings of Power.
That
That was a hot,
Before
stinking,
or
big
after
old
the
garbage
vomit?
fart, not a spoiler fart, by the way.
Good. The another two shows that you have watched, Austin, that I have not, that I saw on that list are You on Netflix getting a season 4 and Bridgerton getting season 3 this next year.
Here's my bitching.
Go on.
Why? That's the counterpart to the show You.
Okay.
It's called Why. Why do I keep caring about this man?
I don't care at all. I just saw that show was on the list.
And that's the thing. Like you watch the show, you care about Joe, and you can't help it. And he's a serial killer. He is a extremely smart person. I think they made his character complex enough, yet simple enough, explanation wise, that everything just kind of works out this way. But it's always just nail biter. Everything's a nail biter because you can't trust anything. In Bridgerton, they're exploring the family. So they're going down the line of the different children of the Bridgerton family coming of age and marrying off into this high society, which this high society is, of course, based around this class system that if you're noble, you marry noble, you stay noble, you spread the noble bloodline, you expand the, noble heritages and all this other stuff. That's what it's about. And I mean, I'll watch it because my wife loves it. The second season missed for me where the first season was actually very entertaining, and it was a good love story.
The only thing about the show I like is that they take modern music and make it classical.
Vitamin String Quartet has been cashing checks super heavy.
Yeah. Oh, they're who does they do all the music for it?
They are the stuff.
Really?
They are also the reason that I have very good pre-ceremony music for my wedding gig.
Excellent, because it's Bridgerton playlist that you can put on
Just
there.
put it on. I have a downloaded Bridgerton playlist on Spotify, and if it ever comes down to it and they don't have anything picked for pre-ceremony music, I just let that play, and it's always a hit.
The last show that I have, I saved it because we've all got some bitchings to probably give towards the situation there, and it's The Witcher season 3 on Netflix.
Who cares?
Who cares now,
No.
right? I mean, because I cared before knowing that Cavill was no longer going to be Geralt.
I said that around season 1 when they said, "Hey, The Witcher's coming out as a TV show," and I went,
I
"Okay."
don't care.
Yeah, I did not like season 1, but then I gave season 2 a shot, and I was digging it. I mean, it was fun. It didn't blow my mind or anything, but it was good.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill is convincing. He's he's a badass,
Yeah.
but not the bad Thor, not Junior Thor.
Not Thor.
Chris Hemsworth, right? Or that's Thor.
That's Thor.
That is Thor.
Liam.
Well, plus I
Liam
hear
Hemsworth.
Blood Origin is a complete, total.
Hey, we
crap
enjoyed
fest,
it.
We
too.
watched it and had fun watching it, but then again, we don't know. I've only read one of the Witcher books, and the Blood Origin, like nothing in it that I remember has anything to do with what's going on in Blood Origin. So our knowledge, it's the whole ignorance is bliss situation with it for us.
And you know, the internet can easily sway a person's opinion about stuff because even after seeing it and enjoying it, not like feeling like it was a masterpiece, but enjoying it. We watched it all in one day. Cool. The bad part was when I got on the internet and then the internet told me, they like the spoiler fart here, Witcher transformation at the very end that he went through, like this feral beast thing.
Yeah.
The way it was shot, and then somebody said 2000s new metal video, and it showed like the angles of everything that it was, and it looked exactly like that cheap.
Oh, that's funny.
So it was just a lot of stuff like that I probably didn't notice, just because sometimes I just watch things to have fun.
What Rings of Power and Wheel of Time have done for me is make shows like this better, I think.
Oh, I can see that.
They set a new bar for something that I hate watching. And so stuff like the Blood Origin and even probably season 3 of The Witcher, I'm going to enjoy them more because I know how bad they could be. And I think without having that low of a bar before those came out, I think I would have been a lot more critical of some stuff. But now it's like, well, at least it's better than Rings of Power, So I think that's going to happen with a lot of fantasy for me. But this will be Henry Cavill's last season as Geralt for The Witcher. Could possibly, in the end, just be the last season of The Witcher. They may not even continue it.
Okay, see, I forget. He's already filmed this season.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that changes it. I may watch that.
Right. But it's like a who cares story-wise because Geralt's not going to be there anymore. I mean, it may be Geralt later on,
but at the same time, is
actor.
it confirmed that he was pushing for them to be more lore accurate, and then they were like, nah?
Yeah.
I think he's even mentioned like that he wanted more book accuracy in it. Yeah, but he hasn't gone out and said like straight up 100%.
I just don't want to be spouting sour grapes.
Right.
Internet rumors.
The thing about Cavill is he is a very professional dude.
Yeah.
Like even when
he wants to get hired again, so he's not going to trash them.
Exactly. What he's going to do is he's going to move on to the next thing, and he's already got Warhammer working, with Amazon, and it maybe very well could be. But
I mean,
How
Warhammer
can you
has got
trust
a vast
Amazon now?
extensive
Though?
lore.
They've already butchered 2 beloved fantasy series.
well, I will give you one.
into
Well, I mean,
just terrible.
isn't Cavill helping to do the writing on
He
the Warhammer
is.
movie?
If they were
or
smart,
show?
they would.
He's executive producer of the show.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
well, that
it
changes
should be
things.
good because he is super into Warhammer.
And
Good,
as
good.
pissed off and as shitty as it's been with his dealings with the Witcher stuff, even if it is just in the rumor mill, even if that was a possibility, the way to solve that is to take the person who is an adamant fan of this, like they're trying to portray the accuracy of it, and put them in charge of keeping that on track, like
Or
an
at least
executive
help them.
producer.
Yeah, I think he will be the key to the success of that show because I think if he wasn't involved, like what Amazon has done to fantasy for us is just shit on it all. So
Yeah, well, at least they have the boys. I mean, that's
True.
one good thing
Yeah.
about them.
Okay. Quentin Tarantino has been hitting a lot of different podcasts and things. And I know you're like, Quentin Tarantino movie guy. He's been dropping hints that he's going to be working on a TV show that may or may not come out this year.
really,
So if you are a Tarantino fanboy like I am, this is awesome.
haven't heard anything about it. Like they're gonna promote it and release it in 2023 all at once. Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's hinting at. He's not said anything definite. Like I said, he's been on various podcasts, just kind of talking about his life and his career. And he's been asked, and pretty much all of them, "Hey, you thinking about doing a TV show ever?" He's like, "Well, let's just wait this year." So I think
Gotcha.
that could be cool. Like he gave no details on what it could be, but
Because he's actually
knowing
went around-
Tarantino, it's going to be great.
He's actually went around saying that he doesn't think he has many more movies in him.
No, he's thinking to stop at an even 10 as far as like writing and directing because he
Right.
say he's done more and
Right.
you'd have to combine Kill Bill 1 and 2 into one.
I got you.
But overall, yeah, he's thinking he's going to stop at 10.
And then maybe do TV shows. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Let me hit a few shows because we've got Gen V, which is a boys spinoff. Fallout apparently is getting a TV adaptation on Amazon. The Three Body Problem was a really hit sci-fi novel that's causing a lot of stir, and it's getting a Netflix season, and it should be really cool, except Doofus and Doofus from frickin' Game of Thrones are doing it.
Really?
But they have been shown to be able to adapt material very, very well. So whatever, we'll see what happens with that. Dunkin' Egg has been talked about.
What is that?
It's a Westeros story.
Westeros story? Cool.
Dune, the Sisterhood, is supposedly getting a spin-off series on HBO. Like the Sisterhood, like Jessica's the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood.
Yeah.
It's like they're getting their own
That'd be cool.
spin-off.
Yay. Those witches were scary as shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alien might be getting a TV show.
No. Just,
I was wondering.
here's the rant. I'm just going to go ahead and let it out, okay? We're here. He brought up the first one. These old classic series and shows, just let them rest. You don't have to keep bringing them back. You don't have to keep reviving them. You don't have to keep making remakes. Just go on, make brand new stuff. Come up with your own idea, and you know what? Maybe your own idea will be genius.
Well, maybe they're
Stop
gonna
riding the backs of other people. You keep fucking everything up.
Maybe they'll expand the lore like we want them to. Apparently, Sin City is getting another adaptation. That'll make you happy,
No,
Johnny.
no.
Apparently, Mass Effect.
2 was dog
What?
shit.
Mass Effect, also Amazon Prime.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Which Amazon Prime was involved with The Expanse, so they did do a great job with The Expanse. So maybe sci-fi is more their gig.
See, what I would look
Fancy.
at with Amazon is not what they failed at so much as what they've succeeded at and the money supply that they have to provide to people that are wanting to work with them.
Yeah, it's all in who they hire. I mean,
Yes.
it's all the writer and the directors that they buy, that they hire. So it's not Amazon per se.
The directors are just merely the owner operators of the McDonald's franchise that is Amazon Prime operation. So you can either
They have final say.
Yes. So you go to one McDonald's and it's one way. You go to the other McDonald's and you're going to have roaches in your food. You know, it just is what it is.
Better than anchovies.
Stop it. Every time I burp, honestly, you guys don't even know how much sourness I have in my throat right now.
I do. I had some too.
Not with coffee.
I had a wad of like 8 of them.
Real quick, while
Go
we're on
on.
the subject of reboots and things that sound absolutely awful that don't need to be rebooted, it's also been reported that Warner Brothers Discovery is in discussions to reboot the Harry Potter franchise.
Oh yeah,
Why,
because
though?
that's what we need.
I don't know.
Oh, money. Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
there
think
it
about
is.
that.
Yeah, money.
Ah, shit.
Ah.
I didn't even think about money.
Okay, so
They're still doing the prequel series.
Yeah, but
they're
that
talking
doesn't-
about releasing another Fantastic Beast.
but that doesn't even touch in the time frame that the original Harry Potter stuff happened, so they can
So?
do whatever.
So
Yeah.
So we've got this statement that Dane made about actors being replaced and storylines becoming basically disposable. That's the entirety of the DC movie lineup for this next year. Question mark next to Shazam 2, but that is the first one that we will be getting. Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, comes out in March of this year. It is a continuing story of Shazam when he takes on Hespera and Calypso, daughters of the Greek titan Atlas. So it's called Fury of the Gods. It's got a little bit of a different look to it. It's supposed to be a little bit more action packed, also combining that humor along with it. But I watched Zachary Levi, who played Shazam, actually talk about it a little bit. And of course, he caught some flack for it because DC's going through this whole rebooting phase, and he's currently not mad, at least publicly, about the recasting stuff. But he just says this stuff happens, and he's just glad to have a job while he has a job because he really just enjoys being Shazam.
He's taking the Cavill approach to it, which is
Exactly.
he wants to work again and nobody wants to deal with somebody that's going to be an asshole about their own product. So.
Yeah, like The Rock.
Right. Well, yeah.
Well,
Like-
he may be too big to worry about not getting hired again.
I don't. Quick, small.
it's about drive.
Oh, my
about
God.
Power. We
No.
stay hungry, we devour. That's
Remember.
how we move on.
Remember.
That's how we succeed.
Small rant about that. I did enjoy Black Adam. I enjoyed Black Adam a lot. I mean, for me to say that it was a decent movie, it should mean something. But as far as his approach to everything else, he didn't take the right roads. Like, he didn't take the right ways about going about stuff. He wanted his character to be the sun that the DC universe revolved around, and he wanted to skip any connectivity story-wise and just barrel through the wall. Just break through everything and have no connectivity. And when that failed, he went radio silent and just kind of stopped talking about it.
Well, he put out one, a couple pages of a post of saying something about DC moving on and things, and he basically just was like, yay, he got to do the thing he wanted to do.
Drink my tequila.
And then and then by the end of it, he's just promoting his other thing, which is the tequila stuff or whatever. So it really is just a look at what I'm doing. Like I need more exposure. Here's the next thing. Like, okay, Black Adam's in the past now. Moving on to the next thing.
Black Adam as a movie was a character in its infancy. It should have been handled with care. Instead, he handled it like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Like, just tossed it on down the lane.
Also, his tequila's terrible.
Is it
Throw
really?
out there.
I haven't
Yeah,
had
it's
it.
not good. I bought one of those little bitty, like, one swishers.
Little airplane bottles.
Yeah, it's terrible. Throwing that out there.
Another one in the DC universe that no longer matters, I guess, unless they make it matter, is The Flash, which it's already gotten so much flack for the whole situation with Ezra Miller being a piece of shit and being able to be the Flash still, because I've not heard anything about him being replaced. And
I'd pulled up information about it as well, because I'm not current on a lot of stuff because of all this jumble that we went through this past year.
Yeah.
Of how many times did we talk about the dates changing this last year? I just stopped looking. June 16th is when this is set to come out now. They've also got an updated cast roster on here, so this is it's looking like a Flashpoint Paradox / Universal Travel movie, because you've got Ezra Miller, Michael Keaton, Grant Gustin, who was the Flash in the television series.
okay.
Oh my god.
Ben Affleck and Supergirl from the movie that they've got all these people on this cast list, so there's no telling what they're actually going to do. General Zod,
Oh, wow.
Michael Shannon's character,
Yeah.
he's back in it. I mean, there's no telling what they're going to do with all this stuff in that movie. So I'm excited to see it, but I don't know jack about the storyline, because
Sounds to me like it's like, oh, that one Spider-Man movie was really popular.
Into the Spider-Verse?
We can might do that.
No Way Home.
We were talking about No Way Home. Yeah. Yeah, with this, if Gunn had anything James Gunn had anything to say, I guess, about how this DC universe is wrapping up before he starts his own, like scooching the Flash to December and making it the last DC movie of that cinematic universe could be the way to move it over into his, with the multiversal travel that the Flash has. But it really does seem like it's all just these stories are going somewhere, and that place is a brick wall, because the stories are ending. The Flashpoint Paradox is one of the biggest stories in DC history, especially for the Flash, but for DC as a whole, because it changed everything.
But it just seems like you wouldn't want to release it if you're about to make a new universe, because then it's like anticlimactic.
Well, they've already
we've already seen the Flashpoint Paradox. Now you're not going to be able to use that plot point in your new universe,
right?
Well, and they had already shut down a couple of movies that were already in production. But the one that had the question mark next to it was the Supergirl movie. So they might just be putting that on the back burner until they readjust some stuff on it, because it hasn't been officially canceled. It was just kind of like hushed for a second. Now the Batgirl movie, it was canceled completely.
Yes.
Like they threw it out.
Yeah.
So they can't just keep throwing out movies, because they're going to have to try to make some money off of them. But I just don't see. I'm a fan of these properties.
Yeah.
But I'm not spending a dime on seeing them in theaters. I'm contractually obligated to actually go see Shazam in theaters. So
you have to do that.
You can scratch that. But the rest of them, I don't care.
Because we've also got Blue Beetle, which will be appearing for the first time, which is a really fun character. I don't know if they're going the Ted Kord route or the younger one from Young Justice.
Yeah, the Reyes route.
Reyes, okay, cool. But it's a alien Blue Beetle thing that latches onto him and gives him this ability to have a suit and like cool weapons and stuff, and it like speaks to him in his head. So it's a neat concept. It's really cool. It's a really cool character.
And that can be a standalone movie by itself and not have to connect to anything else, and be saved for later.
Right, because Blue Beetle is a friend of Booster Gold, which is a character who can time travel. So that could be a situation where, like you said, for now, maybe it exists in its own place. If Booster Gold shows up, they travel somewhere, all of a sudden they're in James Gunn's universe. It could be something to where that could happen. But all this is woulda, coulda, maybe. Shoulda,
and woulda, coulda, maybe is just the limbo we live in as DC Universe fans.
And Aquaman, don't care. Didn't really. The first one was fine. It wasn't memorable at all, but really don't care about the next one coming out.
But Jason Momoa was shirtless.
He was, and he did it so well.
Yeah, I mean,
but
there's so much talent in just taking off your shirt and looking hot. I mean, I have trouble doing that sometimes.
I disagree.
Just keep it. No, I mean, look, I can do it easily.
Every
Okay.
What
time
I'm
you
saying is just keeping the people away from me when I'm doing that.
Yes, that part.
That's the
I
difficulty.
understand.
That's where that lies.
Number one, every time I've seen you take off your shirt, you have looked hot, as in sweaty. Number
Yes.
two, people probably approach you to try to figure out what's that stuck to your back.
that's hair.
Just to scooch away from all the superhero stuff, just to do a quick rundown of what Marvel's got coming is Ant-Man, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I am so stoked about, which is animated, and Kraven the Hunter, which is a Spider-Man villain. Those are all going to be coming out this next year. And of all those, interested in Ant-Man Quantumania because I like Paul Rudd and I like Ant-Man. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, will not see that in theaters. Kraven the Hunter, I won't go see that. But
I mean, I'll probably watch Guardians of that whole list just because I like Guardians. I find them to be fun and entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Now, like the heavy slog fests that I find the other ones tend to be.
And you know what's fun about that? And that's my one little highlight about DC stuff. Is if James Gunn can capture some of the magic that he's found bringing the Guardians of the Galaxy to life on the screen, then that's a big thumbs up. Because who really cared about the Guardians of the Galaxy before they started appearing in this stuff? All of a sudden,
many people.
All of a sudden, they're on everything.
yeah. And the holiday special that they had made with them was actually fantastic.
Wait, they made a holiday special?
Oh
Yes.
my
And it's
God.
so good.
Drax,
It's so good.
Drax is the best. Oh man,
He steals the show,
I hope
as
he was
always.
Santa.
No, he was Drax.
He was just Drax?
him.
No, like Drax being Santa.
Oh, gotcha.
Well,
that would be great.
as far as gift giving, yes, you have that correct. Good guess, Tiny.
Nice.
So, of course, when we live now, there's going to be superhero stuff constantly. For me, that whole of everything superhero coming out at all, the only one I am super stoked about is the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, because Into the Spider-Verse is, I believe, my favorite movie ever. And so, of course, for a part 2, I'm going to be excited about that. Cocaine Bear, Tiny. That's coming out.
Cocaine Bear.
That's coming out in February.
It's gonna be
And it's
so
based
cool.
on a true story.
It is based on a true story.
What is the true story of Cocaine Bear? Do we know?
Basically, there was somebody running coke. It falls out of plane. Bear gets a hold of it, gets hopped up on cocaine, and terrorizes a town.
It happened in Tennessee.
Yeah, you can
it's a
go
Tennessee
see
baby.
the taxidermized remains of Cocaine Bear.
Incredible.
Yeah, it happened.
Yes.
It happened in Eastern Tennessee.
So I think that's going to be one a lot of people are going to be excited for, because story-wise, it's ridiculous, and it's not trying to be anything more than that, I don't think.
And it's true.
So it'll be refreshing, I think, with all the superhero stuff coming out, to just watch Cocaine Bear do his
In
thing.
question, what made you think that I would know about Cocaine Bear?
Come on, Tom.
I mean, you was right.
I was right.
Don't get
See?
me wrong.
When
but,
I first saw the title, I was like, Tiny's got to find out about this.
There's one step below a cryptid, and that's Cocaine Bear.
Yep, pretty much.
John Wick is basically a superhero.
give me.
But
Not another
John
one.
Wick, they're
They're all the same.
but
Yes.
they're all so good though.
I mean, look,
am I the only
I
one?
enjoy the shoot 'em up, running aroundiness.
I
but
never do.
It's all the same story.
That's the thing. I never enjoy
Well,
those
I
because
mean,
they're
I'm
boring.
talking about just as far as John Wick.
Oh, that one specifically.
That one specifically.
Gotcha.
Like every iteration is the same thing. The only difference is you don't have to watch this poor, sweet, innocent pup die.
Oh, in the first, yeah. That
Yeah,
one
but
sucks.
he also he breaks that one pit bull out of jail,
Yes.
and he's like, you know what? You'll be my friend.
Best buddy now.
And you know,
Yeah.
you hate
Spoilers.
the movies, but they're great.
I don't hate them. I just wish there was a little more substance.
I will watch them all the way until they stop at 10 or 12. I will consume every one that they put out.
It can't get as bad as the Fast and the Furious movies had.
oh,
So-
you mean Fast X that comes out in May?
Oh,
Fast
Jesus
10
Christ.
your seatbelts.
Oh, Jesus
Fast
Christ.
10 is coming. We get to watch more of that. I don't think I've seen any of them since the third
I
one.
stopped at like 7.
Also, if you want to
I
get
don't
on,
think I've ever seen any of them.
if you want to get on Redbubble, you can get the Nerd It Through the Grapevine commemorative Fast 10 your seatbelt shirt.
Or is that because we're gonna end up making that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying
That's
to
not real.
I'm trying to speak things into the existence here. You know
Okay.
how we do.
Well, you could just tell me to make it. I'll make it.
No, it's easier this way.
What's something you guys are excited about that you've seen on your list for movies?
I think the D&D movie is going to be fun.
Yes,
I think
agreed.
it'll be a fun movie. I mean, think a Guardians of the Galaxy tone,
Yeah.
but just in the Dungeons and Dragons world, and I think that would be fun.
That'll
for
be
me.
that'll
That's gonna
be
fun.
fitting. The last Dungeons and Dragons movie that I remember watching that it came out was absolutely garbage. But back in the early 2000s, how are you supposed to bring anything to life that's supposed to look the way that it does in these universes? So now they've got the technology to actually make it convincing. You didn't know they had a Dungeons and Dragons movie came out in the early 2000s? I saw your confusion.
Well,
eyebrows.
they had several.
No,
Most of them were
I
cartoons.
vaguely did, but I've never watched it.
It was actually in theaters. So
Really?
yeah. I remember going and seeing it because I mean, of course, Magic and Dragons. I'm going to be there.
But D&D now is at its height of popularity. So now they're willing to put the money into it, because even then they might have had the capability to do it, because they could have went practical effects and all kinds of stuff like that. But they weren't willing to put money into a D&D, a tabletop RPG movie.
Well, I mean,
Well, and if it's successful-
because it summoned demons and the devil. That's why.
Yeah. But
Well,
now,
It caused panic.
And if it's successful, it could spawn its whole own universe,
and it probably
with
will.
all these different stories, movies, TV shows.
What is life?
True.
What is life? Because you think about this stuff and what makes you a nerd in your head. And it's mainstream culture now. It's becoming mainstream for all of this stuff to be sold, and everybody's accepting it and loving it. It's just crazy. But there was another thing that, yes, Dane has a slight fervor in fire hatred towards already famous people doing podcasts.
yeah, they already got their thing, man.
You had your time.
You had it.
I think some of the bigger ones that I've seen that are really heavy gravitational ones are watching people that are famous playing Dungeons and Dragons. I can't quite remember all of them, but
There's quite a few.
Critical Role. I mean, they've got a lot of people on there that are famous now.
Yeah, they're like niche famous though. Most of them, being voice actors and whatnot. But they have ventured out and grabbed some actual, just like traditionally famous people.
Yeah. And people will, of course, zone into that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's widely more popular than anything we would ever have, because it was still kind of one of those, be careful, you might submit to the devil by playing a
Right.
role-playing game.
Yeah.
We were children in the height of the end, actually, of the Satanic Panic.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference because D&D is like a household name, but the reason it's a household name now is different from back then, because that back then it was
Right.
you're going to turn into a devil person, but now it's more
My
just
son went crazy and come up the stairs with a sword and killed his dad because he thought he was some kind of evil king, and so he gave his soul to the devil.
Your son had a psychosis. Does anybody want to see a video of me giving a Dungeons and Dragons starter book to my parents and say, we're going to do this? Did you think that would be funny to watch?
It would be.
I watch it.
I wonder if they still hold on to that scaredy. They might.
Nah.
They might. You never
You
know.
just kind of hold it and go, woo, woo. And watch your dad like huddle in the corner and pee himself. I actually saw a movie that I was excited about when I looked. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of backpedal a little bit on my rant, just a hair, just a hair. But you got to go with me on this. Transformers is coming out with a new movie.
Mm-hmm.
They need to stop making Transformers movies. However,
But-
this new one is
Yes.
going to be Beast Wars.
Yes.
Which was my childhood Transformers show. I mean, the original Transformers television cartoon was there, but it was like right before I can remember. It's like you catch the last little, like maybe season, but Transformers, Beast Wars, bro, like Optimus Primal, Rat Trap, all of them.
Cheater.
I'm kind of Cheetor. I am excited for this.
Yeah, I
that will
had
be
that on my list,
awesome.
too.
Hopefully.
Because I haven't watched the Transformers movie since the second one.
I saw the
and I'm
Wahlburger one, and I was like, man.
actually excited for this.
You know the trailer-free champion rule of not watching a movie not watching that trailer for a movie you're going to go see.
No,
There are times to where
I've not signed that blood pack.
me neither.
even if it's Austin, I have,
Nor will I.
but there
Same.
is an asterisk.
Marcus, we'll sign our own pack to not sign that pack.
Because if the movie in question, if the plot doesn't matter and you just want to see what it looks like, because it's like, who cares where it goes? There's nothing that I feel like I'm going to be spoiled by. It doesn't matter. You can watch it if you just want to see what it looks like.
I have seen the Beast Wars trailer,
There's a trailer.
There's a trailer out for it. You get to see Primal.
Single wide or double wide.
It's a triple.
Double wide.
Oh, it's a triple, baby.
Whoa.
Because you've got Primal,
Okay.
you've got Cheetor, you've got Rhinox.
Ooh, yeah, Rhinox was
They
good.
look cool.
They're all in it, and it looks so badass because they've also taken away all those extra crazy moving parts that they were adding for no reason that are spinning and twirling in that made the transformations look more complex yet confusing.
Yeah.
They've taken away that, and they've simplified the way they're transforming a little bit, and it looks so convincing.
Yeah, they made it
Nice.
more sleek and minimal compared
That's awesome.
to how they used to be.
I'm gonna watch that
And
immediately after this show.
And
actually
Optimus
excited about
is back to his original square box trailer form.
Now, honestly, I like both forms of Optimus. I'm not beholden to one or the other.
It's just cool to see it represented on
But
screen.
Optimus Primal, bro.
You're right.
I mean, he's a gorilla.
Dune 2 is
Dune
coming.
2.
Dune 2.
That was on my list.
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that too.
Is the asterisk beside that? Does it say succeed?
But it's really just the next half of Dune 1.
Yes.
Truth.
Yeah. It's part 2 of the
Yeah.
first movie, which I hope they have a super cut of it to where it's all put together.
Sure. I mean, I honestly feel like it could have. I mean, the first one seemed to end kind of abruptly.
It had to end somewhere, I think, is the situation, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
with a story that large, and I'm glad they didn't shrink it all down into one thing.
Yeah, me too.
And they've actually taken their time with it because one of these days
this
I
one's
will
set up
read
to be
it. But
really, really cool movie.
yeah.
It's got such an awful soundtrack. How can people even stand
Marcus,
to
your
listen?
thoughts on that comment?
It doesn't deserve.
It doesn't deserve
Doesn't
comment.
deserve
He
to
know-
even recognize
he-
it.
he
You
know-
should just edit it out. Honestly.
It's got such an. How can people even?
Marcus, your thoughts on that comment?
He knows I'm just throwing crap into the pond to make it smell bad.
Oh man, the last one that I'm super excited on my list for movies. This is Super Mario Brothers movie. At the start of it, I was like, whatever. They're just making a cartoon Mario movie, cool. But after seeing some of the stuff on it, because it's one of those to where like the story, I don't care. I just wanted to see what the voice acting was going to sound like because it was getting a lot of flack, and I'm very excited for it now.
But what if it violates the canon of the brilliance of the original Super Mario movie?
Nothing can touch that movie, Tiny.
I know.
It is.
It's so immaculate.
Because they don't want to get it on their hands.
I thought it was because it was immaculately conceived.
Yeah.
No, it will forever hold its place on that pedestal. No one can touch it.
There's no poop knife long enough. They'd have to have like a poop pole sword.
So there's Dune 2, Oppenheimer by one of my favorite filmmakers, Christopher Nolan, is making a movie called Oppenheimer. So like about the invention of the nuclear bomb.
Ooh.
I have no idea what it is. I just know it's Nolan, and I'll watch anything that he puts out except for his war movie because I've got to be in a very, very particular mood to watch a war movie.
Yeah, me too.
I feel
I'm
that.
never in that mood.
Yeah, but I've seen everything else he's done. Rebel Moon is Zack Snyder's new space fantasy movie that he's going to be releasing. There's really just not a whole lot of information out there about it other than just some visuals or just some like concept art and stuff.
Huh.
I don't know. It just looks like it might be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Pretty fun
I
little-
need more sci-fi fantasy in my life, so
Yes.
that'll be good.
Looks like we're getting another TMNT, Mutant Mayhem.
It's animated. Yeah. I don't know what type of animation. I don't know if they're
Right.
going. And
I don't know.
I
just
saw it on
thought-
the list though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was just. I read something about it being like a reboot of the franchise.
Yeah, my guess is it'll be
Oh,
crap.
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I kind of am with you, Tiny. That's my guess too. I mean, somehow those early '90s Turtles or late '80s,
Yeah.
those are the ones that are the most awesome.
For us though, but I mean the Turtles haven't gone away. Like they
True.
have been consistent.
They've just not been as like pop culture iconic as they used to be.
Well, now there's too many things competing. Now, because back then it was the big ones like TMNT and Power Rangers, but now there's so much
Yeah.
different forms of media that even if something is, explosive culturally, like there's so many other things that are as
Marvel.
well. Yeah,
Marvel.
Marvel, for instance, like there's
Star
so
Wars.
many things like that even if TMNT is as popular now as it used to be, so many other things are too. So it doesn't seem like they're as popular.
Correct.
Shows how much of a fan we are too, because we've never discussed the 2019 Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated film.
No, we haven't.
We could.
I just found out it was a thing when I was researching this stuff.
One more movie that I want to mention. It's called 65 Million Years Ago. It looks like Adam Driver is going to be in a space sci-fi movie, and they're like out in space trying to find a new planet to live on, and somehow he ends up on Earth 65 million years ago.
So he's going to be in a
Interesting.
new Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah, it's Kylo
Yeah,
Ren.
it definitely has its own. It doesn't feel like Star Wars, but it just looks cool.
But more sci-fi, which is good because I feel like fantasy has been the king lately, and I want to see sci-fi.
That's debatable.
Move its way through.
They've tried to make it king,
right,
but it's
they're cashing
sucks.
in on the fact that it is.
They're cashing in on the Game of Thrones,
Right.
Fallout.
But we need sci-fi moving its way back up that, and I think Dune was a good start.
Well, Dune is just that perfect blend, I think, between sci-fi and fantasy.
Which is also a remake because there is an old Dune movie.
Yeah, but that's garbage.
True.
But yeah.
Yeah, and they took much, much more liberties with the story.
Oh, really? Okay.
Than this iteration is.
This one is the case of we learn from the mistakes and let's just stick with the correct story.
And just Dilly Villeneuve, or however you say his name. He's one of my. I like him too.
Just like the classic Willow series that was just rebooted and they're still coming out on Disney Plus. Willow was a Lucasfilm property where it was magic based, and it was based around these dwarven people and all this other stuff. But what they fixed in it was the original story was really good, and the graphics were absolute dog crap. It came out in the mid '80s, so it looked bad. Did not age well.
But now it's opposite.
Now it's opposite. It looks awesome. It's like you're watching something with a Lord of the Rings style budget on this, and it's great, but the story is just hot, stinking, fecal. Honestly, I was looking forward to it so much just because that property. I was wondering how it would age because this is awesome, especially when Warwick Davis is like the main character of it, and oh man, it's just sad. It's just real sad.
Does anyone else have any movies like excited about before moving on to video games? Because I'd like to talk about some video games.
I've got a couple of the video games myself.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay. I think one of the biggest one that has been in production for years and years and talked about forever, to the point to where I don't even know what it's about anymore, is Starfield. It's supposed to be the next thing, and it's supposed to be that for a long time now, to the point of every time we hear that's going to be the case for something, it falls on its face a little bit. So, but with Starfield, with them making it for so long, surely they've gotten it to a point to where they are ready to release it, as opposed to we just need to get it out there and we'll fix it later, which is what games are now. Games are no longer finished and put out. They are, unlike things like Elden Ring, that's one reason why it stands above every other video game right now, is because when it was released, it was a finished product for the most part. And just it's hard to make that happen anymore. So with a game as big as Starfield is supposed to be, I don't know if it's going to be a disaster or if it's going to be the next Elden Ring, where everyone's talking about it, everyone's wanting to play it. So, but I believe it's coming to Xbox Game Pass. I think it'll be released day one on there, and that's something I'm already subscribed to. So I'll get to check it out when it first comes out.
It sounds so promising,
Right.
And that's why I think people get nervous about it. Is because thousands of planets, literally thousands of planets to explore.
Mm-hmm.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, No Man's Sky situation. That was one of those where
Except better though, because this will have cities and I've never played No Man's Sky. It looked kind of boring to me, honestly.
It was.
But so I don't think that that's going to be the case for this.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just their answer to something like that. Oh, good idea. Well, obviously they've been working on this for probably longer.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I don't know. It sounds almost too good to be true.
Right.
I mean, because there's all these massive planets, and each planet is probably the size of a video game, an open world game in itself. But are we going to have time to explore? Is it going to be nice to explore all that, or is it just going to be boring and repetitive and stupid?
Well, you'd hope that with all the time that they've spent creating it, that they can see all the mistakes these other games, like No Man's Sky on release. Maybe they had something kind of similar to that, and maybe that pushed it back because they're like, well, this obviously did not work. So they've been able to look at all these other games as they're happening and kind of taking inspiration from the things that do work and the things that don't, depending on how strong their vision was to begin with, because I think it's been pretty vague as to exactly what it contains and what it's about. But I feel like since they have been kind of vague, maybe they've been able to make a bunch of changes as they've made it. But,
well, it's Bethesda too, so it's like they're known for these revolutionary games, and I think they know that and they want to keep that up. But at the same time, they're also known for their bugs and their glitches.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll definitely be keeping my eye on that one.
Yeah, it'll be a day one play.
Building your own spaceships and stuff. That looks fun.
Super cool. Yeah.
Arc 2 Survival Evolved is supposed to come out in theory.
It is
sometime this year. I'm a little leery about it because I love the first one so much. They're gonna take it in more of a Souls-like direction with like combat and things, and Vin Diesel is supposed to star as the protagonist of said game. Now, I don't dislike Vin Diesel, but now I can only see him as the family guy due to Fast and the Furious. You know, everything's about family.
That Family Guy.
Yeah, that Family Guy. Not that one. Yeah, not that one. So I just hope they don't take the beauty that was Ark and take it into a horrible direction. Also, I want them to fix the bugs because it is so glitchy. It's broken. It's almost Skyrim level broken, but it's still really fun.
So the first Ark is broken, glitchy, buggy, and yet they're announcing a second one as opposed to still fixing like the first one.
Right.
So, well, we've got situation. I wonder if it's going to be a situation like... Well, no, it won't be like Overwatch, because with Overwatch, they recently had Overwatch 2 come out, and it was basically just an Overwatch 1 update. It was just a 1.5, basically. There's not much changed in it at all at its core.
Yeah.
And they just made it worse. So, but this sounds like maybe they're adding enough to make it an actual 2.
Well, this sounds like it's a complete deviation from the original, because the original is... You can kind of say Minecraft-esque. It's survival crafting, gathering resources, taming dinos, breeding dinos, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Making bigger, better dinos to go feed, boss dinos. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. This seems to be more like your Elden Ring, Dark Souls, I'm going to run around and kill some stuff kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Which, in my mind, just completely ruins the magic that Ark had.
Well, hopefully they won't abandon Arc 1 once they do this, and you can still do all your stuff on there.
Truth.
Because Overwatch 1 is now gone, and Overwatch 2 is the only thing you can do. So everything that Overwatch 1 had that was better than 2, it went away forever. So hopefully they still care about Arc 1 whenever the second one comes out.
Well, I mean, there's a massive fan base that still plays it and pays for, servers to play it.
Yeah. Hogwarts Legacy is going to be one that's coming out to where we mentioned Harry Potter earlier, but you get to be a wizard at the Hogwarts.
You get to be a hairy wizard?
You get to be a hairy wizard, and it looks pretty neat. It's one that if it is on Game Pass, I'll play it, but I won't buy it. But if it's there in front of me and I can download it and play it, yeah, it looks like it might be fun to get to be a wizard like that. But once you've been a wizard in Elden Ring, like, is it going to feel like
a taste thing?
It is. Yeah. What's it taste like?
Well, for me, Harry Potter tastes like hot, stinking, pickle garbage. But
close your deceitful, whorish mouth.
PlayStation is getting VR 2 soon. I don't know what all is going to change with it. I'm sure just resolution-wise and it being more realistic, but did any of you? I know Austin messed around because I had VR, the first PlayStation VR, which is really cool, but it's not to the point to where it's comfortable.
That was on PS4.
Yeah,
and it was honestly it was heavy. It was the motions in there just made you sick. Made me sick at least. I couldn't get through the flight game that you had.
That was just anchovies.
Yeah,
no, that's just current.
The biggest issue for me is glasses wearers. Like Tiny, you and I playing VR, it's hard because they do make it to where they can you can take your glasses off and adjust the optics inside of it to where you can see it clearly-ish. It's still not quite right. and it's just you see better with your glasses. And when you have that in between the screen of the
There's
face
that
mask,
pressure.
yes, it hurts so bad. So I don't know if that's something they've addressed in this or not. But
I personally don't do the VR thing because, well, I get motion sicky, and I don't like to vom.
yeah,
So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
yeah. Yeah, it's not for everyone,
Exactly.
but it's a cool direction for games to go in.
Yeah,
but,
I think it's a cool, neat thing. It's
Yeah.
just not cool and neat for me.
right.
I am excited about some of these hack 'em slash 'em games that are coming out this next year as well.
Okay.
Like there's one that's called Wolong Fallen Dynasty, which on the Game Pass you can pre-download it and be ready for its release in March. It is set in a more open world style to where you're going to have, it's almost like Elden Ring, to where you're starting off, though, in the age of Japan called the Three Kings era, and that's going to be around 220 to 280 AD. So it's way, way earlier in Japanese culture than most of the stuff you see, which is taking place in like the feudal era of Japan, which is around the 1800s. So it's going to be something a lot different. You're fighting, more of like mythological creatures that exist in the different folklore of the East. You're having to deal with the deities of the time as well that they worshipped. So it's almost like an in-depth look into that kind of culture set in a more hack 'em slash choose your 5 varieties of character beat 'em up game.
Cool.
And I'm excited to do that just because I love those games. I love those games with their I have to kill this enemy, have to kill this enemy. I love them. I mean, that's just like Elden Ring was. There's always a new enemy. They're going to be way too hard, most likely. But it looks very fun. It looks very cool. It reminds me of some of the hordes of monsters and stuff that'll come at you, like the amount of them. It's not quite as much as like a Dynasty Warrior thing, but it reminds me of Dynasty Warriors in the way that you can carry out these certain kind of combat actions and stuff that are so complex and so heavy damaging and all this. And they've added something cool to it, which is a jump button. So you're not,
Ooh.
Yeah.
hey,
New age.
just
girl.
that expansive exploration that you need to do. Hey, you can get other places now. And one more that I've got on my list that is pretty similar to that, just in a completely different setting. It's set post World War I. It's actually got a period time frame name. I think it's Belle something. It's Belle Epoque, which is just a time of peace after World War I. It's what that era was referred to as. But it's a Souls-like game based around a darker telling of the Pinocchio tale.
Oh,
and it's
Lies of P.
called Lies of P.
I've heard about that.
And Lies of P it's upgradable, customizable weapons like you can get on your Dark Souls game. Same kind of setting. It almost looks like Bloodborne in the way that everything's set. It's
Victorian era kind of thing.
yeah, just that early 1900s. Technology's here, but not very prominent kind of thing. I mean, you've got Pinocchio, who is your main character, and him being a doll, you can upgrade his body parts to create Tiny.
I'm just imagining like cyborg Pinocchio.
That's exactly
with a razor nose.
Not a razor nose, but
Maybe.
as far as what I've seen, he kind of looks like an anime kid, honestly. But just the upgradable, like his arms, his legs, all this other stuff that you can customize on him are like your weapons that you can carry around on Elden Ring.
I want him super jacked but 2 feet tall.
That would be awesome.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
He's man size, unfortunately.
But you have certain missions and stuff you'll have to carry out during that phase. You also have these dark missions you have to carry out, which are the missions of the lies. So that's the Lies of P.
Right, and I've heard that the way you choose to lie and things will all determine the story.
Yeah.
and
That's
stuff
cool.
like that.
Like a
right,
choose
and
your
see,
own
that's what I'm
adventure.
really looking for with this next gen is games that can get us out of the same gameplay loop of kill, upgrade, explore, kill, upgrade, explore. You know what I mean? Like we need RPGs to kind of introduce like new ideas, I feel like.
Yeah.
And the only ones that I feel like could do that, I mean, I guess Starfield could be one of those.
Yeah.
We've already talked about, but there's one called The Wayward Realms. But it's like, it's some old school devs from one of the old Elder Scrolls games are making a game, and they call it a grand RPG, where it's like you essentially have a virtual dungeon master running it for you. Lots of procedurally generated things happening in the world. the world's supposed to be like 5,000 times bigger than Skyrim.
Jeez.
Not to say a giant world like that makes a game good, but just the people that are involved and the things that they're saying about it sound so, like, again, so promising. But at the same time, we don't know like hardly anything. We've not seen any footage, but it's another one of those that's supposed to, like, the story really revolves around your decisions, and you're out, and the game respects your play style and outcomes and things like that. And that just sounds like it could be really cool, or it could just completely fall flat.
Well, that's when games can be incredible, is whenever you feel like your decisions matter. Which, even if they don't, even if everyone's making the same decisions and, moving on, making it feel like you matter when you're playing the game and you're not just controlling something that's on rails. Even if it is open world, it doesn't matter. Like, sometimes those games still feel like I'm just having the same experience as everyone else. Something like that. I think that's what drew me so much to Mass Effect, because in it, you get dialogue options that will change how certain parts of the rest of the game play out. In the end, not really the case. You got 3 options at the end, basically, and they all had the same cutscene with different colors. And, the end was kind of a flop. But the process of going through the game like that, in the second game, I had a character that he died because of a decision I made. And there's a way to have all of your characters survive the second game and move on to the third. But I had a certain character that died because I sent them on the wrong part of a mission that wasn't their specialty, and I thought it might be. And so my third game, I had a different character that I played with instead of the one from the second one. And that was so cool to me that I experienced a different storyline for this character because the decision I made, it was a bad decision, but I got to live with that in the game.
Right. We need more games that you can, like, get permadead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Russian roulette.
The game we just download. Oh, geez, Tiny. Oh, gosh.
I'm not the one that said
Bring
it.
it
That was
PlayStation
Marcus.
VR 2 to your home with Russian roulette.
There was a game we just downloaded, Hellblade something another, and that game you get permadead. Because if you don't make certain decisions the right way and you end up actually dying, you lose all of your progress you start at the very beginning.
And there's actually a part 2 coming out to that soon.
Interesting.
Speaking of part 2, there's another game that's going to have early access that's going to be coming out in 2023, and I'm so excited for it I could poop my pants. Hades 2.
Yes.
Hades 2 by Supergiant Games is their first ever sequel that they've made for something like this, and it is going to be early access is going to be announced earlier on in 2023 when they're going to have that available. So I'm excited for this. I've spent so much time on Hades. Hell, I'll even go play Hades sometimes and just go so I can just rank up in it. There's no reasoning for the rank in Hades. You just get the rank. You unlock nothing. You just, now I've got the silver badge. Oh, now I've got the purple badge. Like, you just keep ranking up. But it's so fun to me because it's always changing. So, I'm excited to see what they come up with next.
Well, sequels for 2023, there are a few of them. That's a really big one with Hades 2, but Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming, which is the sequel to The Fallen Order. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel as well to the Breath of the Wild. And Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a sequel to the Spider-Man, and Miles Morales is kind of like its own first game, and then this one is going to include both of them in the same game.
Yep, that was on my list as well.
So it's supposed to be great. Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to be just as amazing as Breath of the Wild was, and going to rule sales for the Switch.
And bringing in Tony Todd to voice Venom is such a good voice acting choice. In Spider-Man 2, I'm excited to hear and see that because it's
just have Venom in the game.
Yeah,
we had mentioned D&D type stuff, and Baldur's Gate 3 is one that's been coming out for a long time as well. And the old Baldur's Gate games are really cool, but man, do they not age well. Just with the way they look. I mean, the systems are, kind of work because it's as close as you can get kind of to D&D on the screen, and playing it in a video game. But Baldur's Gate 3 is updated graphics, and it's going to be one of those games I think that the decisions you make will matter, hopefully. And of course, character creation is going to be insane. But they one of the recent Magic the Gathering sets was kind of based around, it was Baldur's Gate was the name of the expansion, and it had a bunch of characters that are going to be in that game within the card game, and there's some really neat looking ones in there. So that's one that a lot of people have been looking forward to for a long time. One I'm confused by, but again, thought of Tiny, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game?
Hold on. So, you mean to tell me they're taking one of my favorite awful, scary movies and making a game out of it?
Yes, sir.
That appeals to me.
Yes.
I feel like it shouldn't, but it does.
It'll be coming out in the first quarter of this year. It's supposed to. That's.
I'm not going to pay $60 American for it.
No.
But I will wait till it goes on sale
Yes.
in a year or two and then buy it and be excited until it gets there.
And that's a good point. Out of all these games coming out, and even the movies that are coming out, spending money on this stuff, like that's something that, of everything we've mentioned, very few of those things are exciting enough for me to want to actually put money towards them. Like if most of these games, if they're coming out on something I already have, which is the Game Pass subscription, then cool. Yeah, of course I'll give them a try. But when it comes to spending $60 or $70 now for, the new gen console games, some of them come out at $70. I'm not going to do that for, I don't think, any of these. I don't think Elden Ring was the last one that I bought brand new, like when it came out, just because there was too much hype surrounding it. There was too much of this is the most amazing thing ever made that I couldn't miss out on it. But out of all this, like there's nothing that day one I'm like, here is almost $100 of my money for me to experience it.
At least an entire day of your labor to buy that.
Yeah, exactly. And is that worth it?
Is it worth
to
an
me?
entire day of my time?
Right.
Only to consume 3 more weeks entirely of your labor to try to get places in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, there's so many games. Like it's something like with Game Pass. We can download a game, and some of these with the day one release, download it, play an hour of it, and if it's like, I don't really care enough for this anymore, I've lost nothing but that hour of time. And it saved me $60 by spending an hour of my time going, I don't want this.
Like one of those really nice gifts that my wife got me for a Christmas present a few years back. Whenever she got me Kingdom Hearts 3, I'd been looking forward to that for forever. She spent money on it. She got it for me. I got it to the house. I beat it in like 6 hours. No challenge.
Yeah.
And no story. And it was just most people agreed that they were very excited to see all the same characters and see everybody interacting again. But it's just.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things you can avoid is that heavy disappointment by spending that big chunk of change on something that might just make a fart noise.
Yeah. And for some of these games and movies and shows, there are ways around paying to enjoy them. And if you happen to find the safest way of doing that, go for it. And just check and see what you think about it before actually spending money on it, if you can do that in those ways.
You mean like buy it on Steam, play it for less than 2 hours, and then return it to see if you like it?
You may
Is
do
that what
that.
you mean?
You may do that.
I do that a lot.
I'm thinking more put up the sails, throw the parrot on your shoulder kind of a situation.
Raising the flag.
Yeah. So
But
going
there's no
in,
supplements.
Yeah.
We do not condone that.
No, not at all. But if you do it, be careful and use a VPN. And
And don't tell us about it.
Do you have a friend that's prescribed Adderall? Ouch, I'm just kidding.
That's great. So yeah, going into 2023, a lot of very exciting stuff. I wonder, of all these things that we've mentioned, I'm sure there's plenty we haven't mentioned that you're excited for as a listener. I wonder how much of it you're excited for and how much of it you are actually willing to put forth money and time into these things as soon as they come out, to be one of the first people to experience it, to where you're not waiting to see what other people think before doing it yourself. For me, the list is not very long for that. And I'm glad, though, because in the past I've been burned too many times. I'm starting to learn my lesson that it's not worth always being the first one to experience something in order to have to enjoy it. Because sometimes, if like Tiny, like you mentioned, you wait a while, all of a sudden you're spending $20 on something instead of $60, and you enjoy it even more because you didn't have to put that much money into it.
Yeah, and you also get to wait for them, to fix that game over the course of 2 years,
right?
Cyberpunk, to where it plays well and is actually fun.
Yep.
I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus by naming any name.
But Cyberpunk, a lot of fun now. So thank you for going through this list with us on Spotify or iTunes or Good Pods, Castbox, blah, blah, blah. Give us 5 stars, please, and tell everyone why you love us or why you hate us, as long as there's 5 stars. And then go to Redbubble or Teespring and buy a T-shirt. You got Christmas money lying around. Go buy a T-shirt and let me see you in public, especially if I don't even know you and I see our logo on your shirt. That make me feel so good. I might even high-five you.
You know, and as much as we like lists, we also love our listeners. Yeah.
It's like a play on words.
So
good.
if you've been listening and we've missed out on some stuff that you're looking forward to and you want to let us know, message us. By us, I mean me. On Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter by looking up at Nerd Grapevine. And if you'd like to donate a little bit to the cause, get a shiny holographic sticker, a pack of fried anchovies, and a paper bag to throw up in. Get
They're
on
also
Patreon.
freeze-dried.
Oh, good. That enhances the flavor. Get on Patreon. Look up Nerd Grapevine. Donate a little bit, and you'll receive all of that and more. That pause caused me to have a little bit of...
So jelly beans. What's up with jelly beans? Like, why would you make a popcorn flavored jelly bean? That's horrendous. Just give me the fruity deliciousness. That's why I like the Starburst ones, and I don't really like the Jelly Belly ones, because I also like booger jelly beans, and that's just horrible.
That's the ones that made me throw up.
Yeah, they probably taste like the vomit that he threw out, but you can also find us on Discord. There's a link in the description. You can tell us what, I don't know, your favorite jelly bean is. You know, do you like the green ones or the black ones? Do you have Easter jelly beans? Let us know. We're on there live, uncut, uncensored, and irrevocably circumcised.
And find us on YouTube as well. Austin, When Life Gives You Grapes.
When life gives me grapes, I'm going to compare them to grapes that I've seen in the past. And I'm going to say, do these grapes need to be new grapes or redone grapes? Then I notice, oh man, these grapes look a lot like Ridley Scott's Alien characters. I'm going to carve them into these, and now I've got these little alien carvings out of grapes. They're so beautiful. You can see the xenomorph's extra mouth coming out of it. Oh man, it's spewing grape juice. And then I investigate them a little bit closer by shoving them up my butt.
Their heads are tapered for your pleasure.